There's been a lot of lineup changes. Yeah. So over the years,
Line is hard.
yeah, and you have remained as the central figure, the father of the band, the guardian of the band. And so, can you tell us something like how has this affected you personally and musically?
Musically, always the new faces, new talents influence the music. Even if studio is maybe in biggest percent in my hands, studio work, but bands, as I said at the beginning, this is stage, this is life. And life, everything depends like on talent of each one in a band. That's important. And I feel more like a conductor in the orchestra. I'm like a leader, like an officer in a team.
Yeah.
But each one is same important because like in a team, if you may be the best officer, if you don't have a good soldiers, you're nothing. Same soldiers, they don't have a good leader, they all nothing. So I think, I strongly believe that we're a good team. And sometimes people, they give up because of what we just told before. Not anybody can stay for so long being on tour,
Yeah.
and to sacrifice themselves for the band. Sometimes they just don't know until they spend a couple of years in Vader, and then they have to take a decision what they want to do in the future. Because the Vader is like no mercy. If you decided to play, you have to be ready to go.
Yeah.
Any day, and for long. But as I say, like every musician in their own history, each one gave a piece to Vader, to the whole history and the whole work of the band.
Why I asked you was this because I wanted to ask you about the passing away of Doc.
No, that was a special. Doc has a special place in my heart because actually, me and him, actually, we raised the empire of Vader in several years.
Yeah.
And since he joined the band in '88, and it's sad that he let the drugs rule his life, and actually that was the main reason why we had to quit. And because that was for me that was the hardest decision probably in my life, because I had the question like to keep the friend and still try to fight against that drug addiction, or the band, which is like this many band, many people are inside and many fans. So I choose band because that was like actually the only choice for me.
Yeah.
Doc, he tried to fight against. He had like so many chances, he couldn't make it through. So sorry. And but as I said, like actually that was the biggest problem for me, because after we quit, that was the only really time in my life in a band when I had a big question what the future is going to bring to Vader.
Yeah.
Because we were so close connected, in work and life, and what happened later was easier, because if we can continue the work of Vader with no Doc, so then we can do anything. And Vader in the next years was more like a phoenix. We were like, for people, for fans, some people just stopped believing Vader. It's like, oh man, everybody's like, there's no same people, but ever next lineup, we're like stronger and stronger, and we could show it. And this is what I like, We need to be strong, And some people weak and they leave aside or back. So there's still me. We're never going to give up. And I strongly believe that this lineup is strong enough to bring this burden of metal for more years.
Yeah. So, are these guys allowed to like contribute to the composition, or do you control that?
No, I still like kind of terrorist in the band, because I'm the guy who keep the style. But don't forget that the drummer is always a very important factor in every session in the studio. And And I really hope that we're going to continue this cooperation in the future.
Yeah.
And this is something I really needed, but it was never given to me. Mauser, he was in the band for more years, but until he started to think like in the new compositions, like about the Vader compositions, so it took time.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the Mauser as well. What happened with him? Like, did he left?
Talk to him. He left because he wanted to make his own career in the rock band with his wife singing.
Yeah.
His decision.
And one more thing about you helping out Vogue from Decapitated.
Yeah, that was more help. Yeah, that was like kind of deal between us. He was like with no band, but he actually with this talent he should do continue the work, not to sell in the store, because that's just worst of the talent. So finally he helped us in that year because we were like looking for guitarists, and we helped him to get back on the trail. And but that was the deal. We knew that this is just temporary. So actually, there was also a deal between me and Spider, because we talked about Spider actually was the first to be in Vader, but that was a deal we tried. Actually, there was agreement to help also Fog to get back, you know. And the Spider was like busy with his Quarry and Amorphous in those days, so that was not a big problem. And then just after Fog started to continue the work with the new album for Decapitated, we just immediately started to work together on the new album. You know, I personally had to see the same influences live. If we're talking about the music, you know, I still metal, but metal is like maybe 80% of what I listen to. The rest is everything. I mean, not everything. I hate hip hop. I hate this kind of shit. So there's definitely maybe anger from this kind of influence for me. But definitely not the music. But rock, like pop music, like classic music, anything which is interesting as sound for my mind. And probably the same for Spider. He's also pretty much open-minded, probably way more open-minded for music than me. But if you see the effects in the songs in your album, so this is just emotion, you know, putting some notes and words.
Since you guys are touring so much, like 2/3 of the year, when do you actually get time to compose new songs and record them?
We don't need time. The composition is still burning, you still keep them in your head. You just need the time to sit in the studio, to focus on the work, and to put it into tape record, just to record it.
And the lyrics, like I read that you have a big interest on this World War II, on German history, and.
But this is more hobby. If this influenced, it's mostly just not directly. So I love war machines, I love tanks, you know. I take a part in a reenactment group if I have a time. So it's kind of like to feel like a kid, you know, just more into historical way, and not with no sense. And history teaches us a lot as well, especially me. And I chose this part because Germany and the history of Nazi Germany was forbidden in Poland for so many years, and the propaganda make a mess in the brains for people. So now everything is changing. So for me, it was a chance that was kind of like forbidden fruit. So I just give my interest to that part of history. I think 90% of the metal bands in Poland, they focus on the extreme scene. It's like black metal, death metal, grindcore, hardcore. What is more popular in Germany or in Japan? It's like heavy metal. Like it's a little bit aside, you know. It is. We still have bands like Seti, like Crystal Viper, like you mentioned, like metal bands, right? Turbo, you know. But this is compared to the scene with like extreme scene. This is just like a little piece.
Yeah.
And thrash metal, which makes me glad, like it's coming back very strong also in Poland, because thrash metal is like a mix of heavy metal and something extreme.
It's kind of reviving these days.
Yes. that's a very strong feeling.
So, what actually inspires you to keep on doing this, all you guys? Like, after all these years, especially to you and to you.
After all these months, after all these days, yeah, it's just really fun. I mean, getting up on stage like with Judas Priest, you know, playing with bands like Judas Priest, getting on stage in front of thousands of people, or you know, even getting on stage in front of 20 people or whatever, it's just great fun.
Emotions create emotions. That's very linked together.
And the opportunity to do this 150 times a year is even better. You know, so.
It's really hard to point exactly what is your inspiration, because if I say the life, of course, this is too much to general view, but actually this is the truth. All we do in our life, what inspires us as a man, as a musician, this is inspiration for our work. Right?
How did you feel about the whole Silence Festival?
What?
How did you feel about this whole Silence Festival?
Ooh, spectacular.
Yeah.
Spectacular, and really excited that the chance to be a part of Silence Festival given to us from a studio, from Bikrant, from the band on the side, and I'm really hope that we come back in the future, because this is the first touch with Vader for fans, and I get a feeling that they like it.
Yeah.
so we will be waiting for next trip with like maybe more from new album and something. Believe it or not, but we're gonna bring the flame of Nepal power to Europe and to the world with Vader, definitely.
That would be awesome. Would you recommend any other band to come and play for Silence Festival?
Loads.
Any band.
There were many bands. Actually, we were in the same situation. We didn't see anything, so we didn't believe if there's something interesting may happen here. So now we're so much excited with what we saw and what we survived in here. So we're gonna spread that disease, definitely. I mean, disease as a spectacular, emotional trip, you know. And Dampe to Nepal, Jai Nepal.
Jai Nepal. Oh, yeah. Cheers, guys. Wow.
Mhm.